This is one of those stories where if it had happened anytime recently, I would have handled it a lot differently. But of course, hindsight is 2020, and everything turned out okay in the end. It was about 10 years ago, when I was 17 and just starting a summer job at the Jersey Shore. On my first day, one of my coworkers, 25-ish, was hitting on me, but it wasn't anything excessively creepy, just mildly annoying. I just figured I'd have to do my best to avoid and ignore him in the future. Other than that, the day goes smoothly and I go home. Now, as a bit of background, our summer house was a split level, meaning that one family lived on the first ground, or the ground floor of the house, and we lived on the second. It was a normal looking house though, and you wouldn't be able to tell that by looking at it. The only way to get to our part of the house was via steps leading up to the deck outside, our only entrance. For some reason I happened to be staying by myself that night. My other family members were out of town for whatever reason. So, I'm outside on the deck when I see the sleazy coworker pull up outside my house. I have no idea how he found out my address. He never asked me for it, and I certainly never gave it to him. I wasn't overly alarmed. This was pre-cell phone days, and in a vacation town, so it wasn't uncommon for friends and neighbors to just stop by with no notice. However, I didn't feel like dealing with him, so I go inside before he can see me, not even taking the time to lock the door. Our house also had big picture windows, so everything is very visible in the main living area of the house. So I head down the hallway. For some reason, I decided to go into the bathroom instead of my bedroom, which ends up being lucky. My bedroom door didn't have a lock, but the bathroom did. I'm in the locked bathroom waiting to hear if he's going to knock, but instead I hear him come straight up the deck stairs. He must have seen me or something. I don't know why he wouldn't go to the main front door and open the door, which, remember, I hadn't locked. He came into the house without even knocking. I could hear him walking around, calling my name out. He even tried the handle on the bathroom. Thank God I had it locked. He eventually leaves, but this was only the beginning. I'll start calling him by Chris. I don't remember his real name anymore. Now, at this point, of course, I should have called the cops. Someone essentially just broke into my house, but I was young and dumb and scared of the consequences at work. I didn't want to be that girl who called the cops on her coworker after her first day when he was just trying to be friendly or something. Again, if this happened today, I wouldn't have let it escalate the way it did, but such is the case with many of these stories. Now the phone calls start. Again, I didn't give him my number. I'm assuming he got the information from work somehow. I didn't answer the phone, nor did I take it off the hook, because I thought that might give him a sign that I was home. He called over 30 times that night and left 11 messages. I counted. The messages he left on the machine were so creepy. It would just be silence, then him saying my name. Daisy? Daisy? Are you there? Are you there, Daisy? Daisy, are you there? Every time. Over and over. To clarify, my name isn't actually Daisy. I saved the messages in case I needed them as proof of anything. At this point, I had locked the door and closed all the blinds, except the front door, which didn't have one. So I put a towel over it. And the phone calls kept coming. He comes back to the house 3 more times. I can hear him trying the door downstairs, throwing pebbles at the window, circling the house. Again, I should have called the cops, but part of me thought that he was just really socially awkward. It didn't realize what he was doing was way over the line. But I didn't want to confront him. I did eventually call my mom, and she could hear the fear in my voice, and ended up driving 2 hours to come rescue me. But in the meantime, I was still dealing with his phone calls and attempts to get in the house. I was afraid to leave the house and go to a friend's because I thought he would be waiting outside. Again, there was only one way in or out, the part of our house. Eventually, I hear more footsteps on the deck, and I'm pretty much in tears at this point. I'm so scared. Luckily, it ends up being 2 friends of mine who were just randomly stopping by. I have never been so happy to see them in my life. We quickly go to their car, and I end up spending the night at their house. The next morning, my mom and I go to the police station to file a report. I was afraid he was going to come back. What's creepy was that when I told the cops his name, they were all like, "Oh yeah, we know that guy." I was supposed to go to work that morning. My mom went with me, and we told my manager what happened the night before. To his credit, he said, "We don't need people like that working here," and immediately found Chris and fired him. I didn't tell everyone my story, but word got around, and everyone at work was really supportive. Luckily, nothing further happened after that, but what bothered me about the whole thing was that for a long time it made me afraid to be alone, and I flinched every time the phone rang. But in a way, it's also given me confidence enough to not let myself get into a situation like that again, and also not to hesitate to call the cops.